the executor of my estate.
Amazing, amazing. Woo-hoo! Use charts.
Well, these are the final orders, the federal court. They send it to me with a with confidence. And when they made the orders, they made it out to keep Charles' estate. And on page in paragraph 7, it says, it is unusual to pronounce final orders without either the consent of each party or a clause, but this is an unusual matter with a very unusual history. The living man, Keith Charles, either in that capacity or in the capacity of the steward executor of the Harvey Keith Charles estate, of the executor of the estate of Harvey Keith Charles, as filed extensive documentation at the well. So I got recognised as the living man and the executor of my estate. And when I did that, I realised, well, if I'm the living man and the executor of my estate, I can't be in their will, right? So they created a counterfeit lookalike of the Commonwealth, and so their world is virtually the world of the dead evil fiction, and the Commonwealth is the land of the living, the living man and woman. And I realised, all right, well, and my estate must be in the original Commonwealth, because you can't be born into a legal fiction. Right? You're born into your nation, and you have a natural born allegiance to that nation. And so in the Public Government's Performance and Accountability Act, which is one of their acts, it says under Section 11 of that act that there are few ombuds, that there are few Commonwealth ombuds. One is a corporate Commonwealth, and one is a non-corporate Commonwealth. And then underneath that it says, note, the corporate Commonwealth is legally separate from the Commonwealth. In other words, legal separate means a foreign. And then it goes on to say, whereas the non-corporate Commonwealth is part of the Commonwealth. Right, so the Commonwealth is part of the Commonwealth. So the two can't mix. The corporate and the whole corporate, they're legally separate. They're foreign to each other. And so anything that's foreign can't sit in the original Commonwealth. And each of these entities has an accountable authority, and it has an official that sits in that office. And because they are foreign to the Commonwealth, they cannot sit in the original Commonwealth office. And so what I did is I did a reversion of interest to the Commonwealth, and a reversion of interest is virtually collapsing the CDK Trust. And what I did is I referred it over to the original Commonwealth, and I claimed the office of the accountable authority for the non-corporate Commonwealth they did. And when I did that, they took all the files out of the corporate Commonwealth, and so I've been in the original Commonwealth since I claimed, since that court case, and I claimed that office. By claiming that office, it is a original Commonwealth office. It is the original Commonwealth office that I am in, and by doing that, because everybody was deceived in 1973 by Whitlam, when they got offered Medibank or Social Security, and everybody went in and signed up for Social Security, what happened was everybody came out of the original Commonwealth, which is an autonomous community, and back in and been through a political society, a corporate structured political society. And while everybody's in that political society, they have to play by the society rules. Right? So you're in this society sandbox. While you're in that sandbox playing with their buck and the spade, then you have to play by their rules. Now, when in the International Covenant of Civil Political Rights, under Section 1, it says, paraphrased, that everybody is free, that all peoples are free. And by that freedom, they can choose their political association. And so as soon as you choose to be in a political association, which everybody did in 1973, by signing up for Medibank and choosing to be in their political association, they came out of the original Commonwealth and into their political society. And Section 2 of that International Covenant to Political Rights says that the people are free to give away their resources, the natural resources. And so what happened was everybody who went and signed up for Medibank, they entered into this into this political society, and they gave away the natural resources of our nation for them to be able to distribute that around the world in their international globalism world. And so in that section, it also says that it is without prejudice. And without prejudice is a very important word, because if they did not have that there, then that would be involuntary servitude. But because it had without prejudice there, meaning that you can change your mind, you can leave it if you want to or whatever else, then that makes it that it's voluntary servitude. So everybody who is in their political society is in there voluntarily, if they know it or not, right? And that is all done by contact and tacit consent, right? Anybody who doesn't speak up to say, well, no, I'm not in your political society, then they are assumed that they are. And so everybody's got freedom of will and freedom of choice. And until people exercise that freedom of will and freedom of choice, then they will be stuck in this political society. And so what we're doing at the moment, when I entered into the Office of the Accountable Authority for the non-corporate Commonwealth entity, what I did is I made corporation soles officers. Corporation soles are under common law; they're not under corporate law. And these officers are actual Commonwealth officers, because I hold the Office of the Accountable Authority. I can create these officers. And the first one I created was the Office of the Accountable Authority for the non-corporate Commonwealth entity. The second one I made was Commonwealth Public Officials. Commonwealth Public Officials are under the Crimes Act 1914, that they can prosecute anybody that has committed an offence against the Commonwealth. The third one I got was Commonwealth Justice of the Peace. Justice of the Peace is a common law office, and we must have Justice of the Peace. One Justice of the Peace, one Justice of the Peace is a court of summary jurisdiction, and two with a jury of 12 Commonwealth nationals, is a full court of record. And so that's our court system. The Commonwealth public officials, they can be the ones that do the investigating, the arresting, and the prosecuting, but they'd be at three separate sort of divisions, and they have the authority to do that in the Commonwealth. The fourth one I got was the Postmaster General for the Commonwealth of Australia, and that office had been abandoned for the last 50 years since the fourth government got in, and that's a very important office of also. And the other officers that are created are Office of Record, saying that anybody who chooses to come out of the corporate and back into the Commonwealth can be recorded. And we also have Commonwealth notary publics, conservators of the King's Peace, there's a few others. But these officers are actual Commonwealth officers. And so when the people know that they have a choice, right? Before, it's been very hard for anybody to know that there even was a different Commonwealth, let alone that they had a choice of which world it is they did. And so what we're doing, we are re-establishing the European Commonwealth, and we are giving people a choice. And what we are doing now is we have set up the Commonwealth electoral roll, and we're just about ready to go with that. That'll be kicked off in the next week or so. We've been trying to get this ready for a long time, but I've had to rewrite documents 5 times so it will fit in with other things that we're using and whatever else, and it's taken us a lot longer. Plus, we have to organise Commonwealth Justice of the Peace. Commonwealth Justice of the Peace are the ones that have to be witnessing those who apply to be on the Commonwealth electoral roll, because only people who are eligible to be on the electoral roll can be on the electoral roll. There's going to be there's 6 different forms. There's AA, which is if you are born in the Commonwealth and you want to assist by restoring the Commonwealth. To do that, you have to do the affirmation of allegiance according to the Constitution, and then there's AB, which is for people who want to do it under their birthright, that they have a natural born allegiance to the Commonwealth, and they don't want to be in an office. Then there's people who are born in a Commonwealth country who want to be in an office. They will have to do also the allegiance, which is written into it. Then there's BB, the people who are born in a Commonwealth country who don't want to be in an office. Then there's CA. CA will be for people who were born in a different country, who done their nationalisation before 1984, before it changed in the corporate. And then there's CB, which are for people who are born in another country that have done the citizenship or anything else, or haven't done it at all after 1984. And so these are the forms that have to do that. They're being done under a statutory declaration, because we can't use counterfeit identity to prove that you were Commonwealth national. we can't use a driver's license or a birth certificate, which proves that you are a legal entity and not a man and a woman. And so we're doing it under the Statutory Declarations Act 1911. That is a actual Commonwealth one, goes back to 1911. And in that act, it says that you can use a statutory declaration to do this, and every government office must accept that statutory declaration. Right now, statutory declaration, once you do a statutory declaration, the only way that they can refute or rebut that at this to rebut that statutory declaration and say what is in that declaration is not true, which they cannot do. Yeah. So, so.
People understand that.
Yeah.
Instead of just job though. But that's job though. Wow.
This is what you get at the end of it. All right. So that's the first page, second page, third page, and then the certificate that it's been done.
That's what you do to it.
So it's going to be all done over the internet. It's just the only way we can really do it to cover the whole country. We don't have enough people. We're hoping that as both will come in, that we need more justice of the peace people to step up, join Commonwealth Custodians, become justice of the peace, help with admin, help with everything that we need to do to get this happening and to get people onto the electoral roll of the original Commonwealth and record it into the Commonwealth. And once we do that, then it's a matter of getting everybody to understand that they all have freedom of will and freedom of choice. We can't force anybody to come out of their political society. It has to be a free will choice of what, if you want to be a slave in their system, that's up to you. But if you want to come out, then the opportunity is there. And of course, the world is there. And by doing that, once you cure your standing, that you stand in the Commonwealth, you cure everything, because that cures jurisdiction. Once they do not have jurisdiction, then they don't have anything. The next thing on the agenda after this set up, is that we will be recording land in fee simple. Well, let's say anybody who has established that they are in the Commonwealth, that is their recording that they are in the Commonwealth, and that they want to record their land in fee simple, and that will go behind in their file. So you'd bring in their title, and then we would convert that title from meters into inches, feet, chains, or whatever, and then record that in the Commonwealth and give you a deed to in fee simple. And that way, it's recorded in the Commonwealth. And they would have to prove that that is not a higher authority than what theirs is, which they can't do. And so the Commonwealth is the highest authority. In the Public Accountability Act, virtually it recognises that they are the administrators of the Commonwealth, and that the Commonwealth is the principal. And the only thing is that there's nobody in the Commonwealth to give them orders. So we will get, it's a maximum law that he who doesn't assert his rights has none. Right? And it's the same with authority. He who doesn't assert his authority has none. And so until the Australian people stand up and actually take their authority back, it's not going to happen. They're not going to give it to you unless you take it. And so, if up to everybody, everybody's got freedom. Well, freedom was one world, it is exactly what they want to live in, what they want to be in, and they can do that. After that, after we do the land in fee simple, we'll also we'll be doing identity documents, travel documents, and everything, so that it will be us that, at Commonwealth, that we won't have passports and military. We will have, identity documents that will, be able to use as a form of, passport. But the thing is that, we are the ones that have to do it. Nobody's going to do it for us. And if we don't do it, they're not going to just surrender and throw out their hands. The whole idea behind this is that, in the Constitution, it says that the people will elect, the Parliament and the Senate. All right, so we have, restored the Crown, and the Commonwealth officers, and that's what we are doing, and we are establishing the platform so that we can give the people the opportunity to be able to have elections so that they can elect a Parliament and a Senate. Once that Parliament and Senate is elected, then the original Commonwealth is restored, and we can say to the military, you've got to come back here under the original Commonwealth. Otherwise, you are aiding and abetting a foreign entity against the people of the Commonwealth and committing treason.
Many people very down. Please, there's a group called Arena Australia. They spoke on last Sunday in Conch Park, and they claim to have basically now international recognition that it has been registered as the...
Deb from TASA is here.
Who's it?
Deb from TASA.
Why don't you have a quick chat? Because what I want to do is basically ask these whether it wouldn't make sense, because you got some good work done. Obviously, you registered already the Commonwealth, and they registered the nation as Terra Australia, I believe. Terra Australia, yeah. Would that make sense to get that together?
I'll give you my opinion on it. Terra Australis is a fictional land, is a fictional land of the Greeks and the Romans. If you look on their map, it's Antarctica, it's not Australia. And if you look at the Citizenship Act, it says, Australia is the external territories, include the external territories. And the external territories for Australia is Antarctica. And so you put yourself into the corporate. You're not taking yourself out of anywhere. And dealing internationally, international has no authority over the Commonwealth of Australia. International is the corporate. So anybody dealing in an international is dealing in the corporate. They are not dealing in the Commonwealth.
Buddy, next question for this. The choice between opting for Commonwealth or opting for corporate, mate.
Yeah, well, you can stay in the corporate. Anybody's got a choice. Yeah, that's right. You have that right. That's what I was saying. It's this.
I'm a new player here. I just want to ask you, where are you coming from? What are you about? Okay. And let's switch you an offer, because still the day, I was born here. I've lived here. I see the case.
Yeah, but you don't think I was born in?
Everyone here,
Yeah.
got to kind of get it is that we've got to pay bills, so having roads fixed. We've got to pay other things to get our lives. And it's cost me. Is that don't record and try. Is that what's pretty good? Is that what's
The solution is that when you are in the Commonwealth is the principal. They are the absolute supreme authority. The corporate is the administrator. They are the servant. They are supposed to take orders from us, except there is nobody there to give the orders because everybody is in the corporate and they're not in the Commonwealth.
Can we have the questions still last? Guys, he's got some important messages. We'll keep the questions and answers till last, and then he's got a lot to say. Yeah.
Right, so what we need now is for people to make up their mind which system it is they want to pay. There is only two systems. This corporate system goes back to this corporate system goes back to 1648 at the Peace of Westphalia, where the Holy Roman Empire came up with the concept of sovereign states, or belligerent sovereign states. And these belligerent sovereign states that were at that peace treaty at the time, they were given authority by the Holy Roman Empire for these sovereign states, which are legal entities, which are corporations, that they could declare war and they could treaty between each other. But this isn't under the natural law. Under natural law, the law of nation, right? Only a sovereign of a nation, the living, can do it between another nation. Whereas these sovereign states that they created are legal entities. They're not the moral nation. They're not the moral nation that is made up of men and women. They are legal entities made up of persons that are under Roman law. And so that's what this system is. The whole system is that you are either in the Roman Empire or you are in the English Empire. The Roman Empire is the corporate, and it runs under Roman law, and the Commonwealth and other the organic nations of men and women that are the supreme authority that had that authority taken away from them under the English rule. So we here in Australia are supposed to be under divine law, natural law, imperial law, which is what the Magna Carta, the Constitution, those sorts of things. English common law. When you say common law, you have to state which common law it is, because there's several different types of common law. They have their own corporate common law, right? So it's English common law that we're under, and then comes English contract law, right? So the contract law the difference between the corporate contract law and the English contract law is under English contract law, you must be given consideration. Right? Under Roman, you don't have consideration. So anytime they try, everything in their world is contract. And every time they try and contract with you, if you say to them, well, I'd require consideration for that, that drags it out of Roman law, contract law, and into English contract law. And so it's